Hello, hello. Welcome to Some Basic with a Little Extra. I hope you're doing well. My name is Anna Zagiri, and if we haven't met yet, I hope that you find good information here. I love to talk about our body, our mind, and our spirit. And today I'm going to talk to you about the spirit. Yes, so I have a basic story, right? For the longest time, I was very involved in church, and I just kind of created my bubble around my church. My friends at church. I did a lot of activities through church, and I was serving at church. Um, yeah, like that was my social life for a period of time. I used to take my kids to all kinds of activities there. But as I got older and I started realizing, this is just my take, my basic story, that I feel like church should be something like school. You go for a certain years and you start like that, in kindergarten, elementary, middle school, high school, then you go pro, and then you graduate and you go out there and live life, right? Just like we do with the school. We have to go out there and do the thing that we worked our lives for, to make money and stuff. So I feel like church should be the same thing. There should be a point where we graduate from church and go out there and do what Jesus tells us to do, right? Like, here's the basic question: how well do you represent Jesus? Ouch. That's a little convicting, maybe a harsh question I have for you today. But remember, I'm here to push you, to challenge you, to remind you, to encourage you, to give you an extra encouragement, and sometimes an extra laugh too. But yeah, so that's the big question. How well do we represent Jesus? And that's the question for all of us that know him. And if you don't know him and you want to know more about him, just leave a message. Send me a message, leave a comment. I will love to talk to you about Jesus. But going back to my basic story, I did my certification in children's ministry, and I got very involved in church. And even at that point, I could make a mental separation of, my church friends and my non-church friends, right? So what I was doing, it was just like investing a lot more in the ones from church. And I'm like, wait a minute, they already know Jesus. And what does he tells us to do? To go out there and make disciples, right? So yeah, I kind of had to reframe everything that I was being told, and I wasn't challenged enough. So now I'm like, okay, I need to go out there and really do the thing and represent him well. And especially, I've learned a lot through my job. I have a full-time job. I work for CBN, and I've learned so much about what it means to be a Christ follower and be, a voice, not be shy about it, and not just keep myself in this little, bubble where everybody thinks like me and, has a lot of common things with me because of those values that the church puts on the community. So yeah, I was just looking for people that just thought like me, look like me, believe what I believe, but really how good was I being about going out there and sharing what I already knew? So here's the thing. I want to challenge you to go out there and make disciples. And no, I don't want you to go and grab the Bible and stand, like a red light and start telling everybody. I mean, if that's your jam, go ahead and do it. But I know it's not mine. But I heard this quote the other day, like sometimes you will be the only Bible that people will read. So how is it that we behave super good at church and then we go out and we're yelling the kids in the car, right after we got out of church or to our husbands and so it starts here at home. Like, how are you treating your family? And then it goes a little further. How are you treating the people at the grocery store or at the doctor's office? Here's another part of a basic story. Not long ago, I went to have a mammogram and I was shocked that in on the desk of the receptionist, there was a sign and I took a picture. I can probably find it and put it in here, but it says to please be respectful to the technicians and do not scream and be gentle, something like that. And, giving the impression that the patients were being rude to the staff of that facility. I was like, what? And, I took a moment to talk to the receptionist, and she's like, yeah, people are just so rude and they just scream at the technicians. And I understand, especially in a place where you go get a mammogram, sometimes you don't get a very good news. But that doesn't mean that you have to be mean, right? So, yeah, that's one of the things that I started thinking about myself and being more respectful. Now I'm terrible with names. So now I look at the name tags, like at the grocery store, when I go and I try to, address them by their names. Yesterday, I went to buy new tires. Hunter was the person that, served me at the tire place. He was phenomenal. And I was so glad to prove my little theory, because um, I went and all the times that I had interaction with him, I addressed him by his name, and he was kind of taken back. And when I left, I also said, Hunter, you have been really helpful to me, and I could see him smiling and stuff. So just being mindful of people around you, and even you don't know what they're going through, right? So sometimes we are afraid of share the gospel, but like I said, you can start by being nice and just calling by their names and asking how their day is going. God will give you the tools. He doesn't send you out unprepared. He will give you the Holy Spirit to say the words that you need to say. And believe me, I tested it. Like, I'm nervous and like, I don't want to talk to strangers. And, he gives me, I ask him, Lord, guide me as I'm walking in here. If somebody needs to say something, or if I notice somebody, like wearing something nice, I tell them, or like, I like their hair. And, there's always ways that you can acknowledge people. And it's just so nice to be noticed, right? And so, yeah, that's a way to represent him. So here's one more thing. As you practice this more and more, like I said, starting at home, I practice it with my family. I compliment my husband and my daughter, when they're going out the door, or just like they did something for me, I acknowledge that and I say thank you. It becomes more automatic. So here's like the amazing thing, because not only God will give you the tools, but by doing that, you're creating, this is scientifically proof, like science proves this, right? That you are creating new neural paths in your brain to create more positivism. So I really encourage you to be bold and just speak out the goodness in people. Also, another way that you can do it is by texting. Just, ask God for somebody that needs to hear from you today and text them. Just, hey, thinking about you, and send them a Bible verse. I have this sweet, sweet friend that he just changed my life because she does audio text. So I hear her voice and she sends the best encouraging messages ever. So I'm just listening and I'm smiling because she's so sweet and she remember me, and sometimes she just tells me what's going on in her life as well. And it's just a quick thing, right? So there's a really good hack for you. Okay. And then once that you are doing these things, there is something even bigger. Like you get a blessing back. So I want to encourage you and challenge you to go out there, be nice, say nice things to people, notice people, because that is going to come back to you. Okay, so the next thing is I want to invite you to do is read this amazing book about unity. Yes, and I'm going to put the link in the comments. And if you're listening, I'm going to put it also as well in there in the app that you're listening. So you can get a hold of this book. It's called The First, The Only, and The Few by Pam Oiley. It talks about unity and the things that you can do to get more involved with different people that don't look like you, but that will enrich your world. Believe me on that. So here are some action steps that you can take. Okay, you're ready? Look at your circle. Look at your circle of people and include others. I have created in the last year, different networks. I have 3 networks that are very powerful to me. Like I have my book club, I have my mastermind. I also joined another group of ladies in my neighborhood, and lately or here recently, a group of awesome, radiant women that we started to encourage one another. And we all come from different backgrounds. We are all different. And I just love that. So just look around into your circles and see where you can meet and do different things and learn from different people. I also have another little network at work. Those girls are like awesome. So you make friends at work, and my friends at work are just precious. So that doesn't mean that you have to stay with the same group, but there's always things that you can learn from others and things that you can share with others. So I invite you to just look around, look at your circle, expand it, make more connections, people that are different from you, because you can learn new things. I also want to invite, you might not agree with me, but it has served me. And again, just my basic story is that this is the way that I am learning, and that I am being more open to even understand Jesus even more. And you might question that with the next step that I'm going to give you, which is explore other religions. Yeah. So I really invite you to be curious about what other religions are based their theology into, and be curious and contrast and compare with yours, and just be challenged on learning and be curious about why certain people think in a certain way and where is that foundation coming from, and also yours. So I found that in my learning of different religions, I get more and more and more sure about who Jesus is. So I just love it, and I have an open mind about others. And I grew up in a way that um, it was told to me that don't even go there, don't explore, don't ask. This is you, this is what you are, this is what you do, and that's it. And no, I don't agree with that anymore. I think that there's a lot of freedom and peace that you can find by exploring and learning about other people. So I strongly suggest that you do that. And I'm not a scholar, I'm not going deep into any other beliefs, because I know what my core belief is. But I have found fascinating things and explored different ideas that I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that sounds like something in the Bible. And then just go back and look at it. And I'm like, I know where that came from. So, just little things like that that have helped me to be more sure who created me, who made me, and what is my purpose. So, just that. And the next thing is just to be kind. Be kind to everybody and respect other people and their beliefs. And the last thing is to pray. Pray a lot. Pray to your highest form of authority. If it's not Jesus, I respect that. But in my case, God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, those are the things that are important to me. So, and it works for me. So, like I said, if you have any questions, if you want to challenge me, if you want to learn more, just send me a message. I'll be happy to sit with you and just talk about it. And that's it for today. So thank you so much for being here. See you next time. God bless you. Don't forget to love Jesus, obey Jesus, and tell everyone about him. Bye.